Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of I can't even talk today. Can't get the name of my own show out. Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. For those behind the scenes, you can kind of see in the graphic I dropped the politics, but it's still in the name. Constitutionalist. Our Judeo-Christian ethos foundation's constitution, biblical community, free will, wanting to be our brother's keeper, not forced worldly communism at the barrel of a gun and theft. At any rate, well, I'm holding up the notes here for those behind the scenes you can see. Joining to me today is Stuart Kellogg. And of course, first thing, nothing to do with the cereal, right?
Well, my line is, I'm related, but not enough to do me any good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You go back about 5 generations, and I got an uncle there, and he and his brothers started W.K. Kellogg Company. So we're related directly.
Oh, that's why this show isn't scripted. Oh, you could see, there goes Boo the Cat for behind the scenes video. Boo the Cat wanted to be part of this discussion, apparently, but now he got bored and left.
There you go.
I guess he prefers post.
Oh, well, I was going to say, that's okay. It did do us good one time. Can I share that quick story?
Sure, okay? Please do.
So, not to brag, but I mentioned a lot. My daughter was Miss Mississippi in 2003. Okay.
Cool.
So prepping to go to Atlantic City. It was still there at the time. And we wrote to Kellogg and said, we want to make a cereal box. And they gave us permission. We made a Special K cereal box with her picture on it with a crown. And they gave us a case of Special K. So that was the one.
Oh,
there you go.
That is cool. I hope you didn't open all the boxes. Those would be collectors now.
Yeah, no, the box, all those were just cereal. The one box they allowed us to make ourselves. So yeah, they gave us permission. Anyway,
okay,
little story I share with you, Joe.
Yeah, at any rate, and now who knows how many people alpha, but hey, not only is this behind the scenes video, this is now behind the scenes into your life across the 25 plus audio platforms too. Before we get to the retired local TV guy, and of course I'll give you shit about being with ABC, and and students in action building pro-life leaders, let's do the proverbial, right? Christian show, pun intended, proverbial first question. Who the heck is Stuart Kellogg? We discussed it a little, but where were you born? Where were you raised? Where are you now? That sort of thing.
Sounds good, Joe. Thank you. So one of 4 children born in Utica, New York. So upstate New York, in between Rochester and in between Syracuse and Albany, the other way. My dad was a salesman. We moved a lot. I moved after the first grade out of Utica, moved to Pennsylvania, Ohio, ended up on Long Island, about 30 miles east of New York City. Went to high school there and then went to college in Syracuse at the Newhouse School at Syracuse University. And during the last 2 years there, I was the weatherman at Channel 9. It's now SYR. It was called WNYS there, and here's a little thing. One of my competitors was Al Roker. So Al Roker was at the CBS, and we have stayed in contact. I can tell you a story about that in a little bit. But anyway, but neat guy. But from there, I noticed something, Joe. I was selling before I got into TV full time. The last 2 years of school, I sold shoes in New York City one summer, and something.
So you're part Al Bundy.
Part of Al Bundy, except a higher level, Bergdorf Goodman, Fifth Avenue. Okay, and I noticed something. Every woman who came in and every woman's daughter, if they were from the South, they were all gorgeous. There was just something. And I said, I love country music. Let's try the South. I'm sick of 110 inches of snow every winter. So I moved from Syracuse to Mobile, Alabama.
Okay, interesting.
And became a reporter at WKRG TV. And on a story at a local high school, Theodore High School, I have to clarify. I say I met my wife at high school. She was a teacher, not a student. She was a teacher.
Very important, distinct clarification. Yes.
Somebody asked me that the other day. I said, "Boy, I've never clarified that." So from now on, there you go, Joe. You're the second I've clarified. So Beth and I married, and in the mid '80s, we left with our two children from Mobile and moved all over the country. I was a reporter, and then got into, after doing weather, became a reporter, and then got into news management and then station management. So I worked at WWL, a wonderful station. I was assistant news director there. I became a consultant for a couple of years. You know what a consultant is, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
He's the one who rides in after the battle and bayonets the wounded. So that was my job.
Here's what you could have done.
Oklahoma and Dallas.
Right. I'm here to give advice. Whether it works or not, whatever, as long as I get paid, right?
I got a plane to catch. Yeah. So, and then got back into TV and was in news in Oklahoma City and in Dallas. And then my goal had always been to run a station, and moved to Jackson, Mississippi, and moved a lot, and then finally didn't move, and lovingly stayed almost 25 years in Jackson, Mississippi, working for the Hearst Corporation, and ran the ABC station in Jackson, Mississippi, and retired during that time. Went to seminary, got more involved in my faith, and then retired almost 10 years ago. And now I'm on the Gulf Coast, back in Alabama.
Two things in that. One, the way my OCD ADHD brain works now. You mentioned Beth, your wife. So now I'm going to have the Kiss song, Beth, I hear you calling in my head all damn day. Now, thank you very much for that.
And she was a professional singer, so that adds to that. So keep it going. Yeah.
This is exactly why I don't script shows, and I don't want to know much about the guests before they're on. Fun stuff like this are the rabbit holes that pop up along the way. And the other thing is, of course, you mentioned ABC, right? All the alphabet medias are mostly left-leaning, but that doesn't mean a local station or necessarily a particular talent at the station is an ultra NPR PBS type lunatic.
That absolutely true. But I will say, in my experience, especially at that level, not in news, but in general management, dealing with, and I had a very professional relationship with them, but they are. And here's the great thing. And the Hearst Corporation, which was wonderful, worked for Hearst Television, and their freedom they gave us to express. They loved it when we stood up at the network meetings and asked tough questions. Okay. And even though my boss and his boss may not have agreed where I was coming from, they loved it. And I'll tell you, the last one is they had a sitcom coming out, and it was about set, a couple of decades before, and it was a Boston Roman Catholic family, and the teenage son, of course, comes out as
gay. Of course.
Which is a theme that was going on. We're talking about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. My question was, one of the fellows, and I won't get into the names and everything, but I knew who one of the developers was, and he was an ardent, not just pro-gay, but ardent anti-Christian pro-gay. I mean, he wrote about sex, just nasty things. And I stood up to the head of programming, and I explained him. I used some quotes, And I said to them, would you let David Duke, he was the Ku Klux, would you let David Duke produce a show for ABC? Well, the poor
Of
woman
course not.
knew in her job. It finally, the president of the network had to step in and say, no, we wouldn't. But basically, this is what we're doing, so tough. I just did it to share
Yeah.
that there is a different world and
I'm
there are
glad you
different folks.
brought that.
And I was given that freedom. And did it change anything? Probably not, but at least it made them think.
Yeah.
There's a different
Oh,
world.
yeah. And the point here is I am sure there are some overboard Christian Bible thumping. This show is not a Bible thumper, beat people over the head with the Bible. Matthew 7 is condemn not lest ye be condemned. There are 12 other scriptures to say we are to judge. So yes, I have gay and lesbian friends, and they are only able to be my friends because they understand I don't hate them. I don't approve of their lifestyle, and no way in hell am I ever going to allow the gaytivists, as I coined, engaged in gaytivism. They aren't tolerance and acceptance. They're about advocacy. They're about pedophilia. They're about promoting. That is a red line I cannot cross. But gay and lesbians can be my friend as long as they understand I, as a Christian, am to love them, hate the sin, love the sinner, and ultimately it's between you and God. There's nobody I know wanting to stone gays and lesbians, but yet these morons, these LGBT LMNOPQ plus minus divide equal sign, gaytivists, queers for Palestine, are too stupid to understand. I'll help get you a one-way ticket because they're going to throw you from a building, you moron. Christians aren't trying to stone you to death, but you're trying to defend terrorists who would stone you or throw you from a building in a heartbeat. Oh, and speaking of heartbeat, since we'll get into students in action building pro-life leaders, I'm wearing my Life Walk a 2025 shirt from here in Southeast Michigan. We just had our Life Walk in June 25th. You could go to udmi-rtl.org for more info on that. But anyway, yeah, do you feel the same frustration as I do? Because the gay people I know aren't anti-Christian haters, but the gaytivists, like you were talking about, are adamant anti-Christian.
And that's correct. And I think the engagement is critical, and especially, but it's, boy, trying to find common ground. And that's part of what this project is. You've got to ask questions, and you've got to find, is there some way that we can agree? And here's one thought, and it ties to mine, it ties to it. I believe a culture, a government, a culture will win. Obviously, protection is key, but especially of children and the defenseless. That's my belief. It starts there if you can't. So to go to your topic, can we agree that sexually mutilating minors' genitalia probably isn't real smart? And every study is showing that. So even that now, I think slowly coming around to have that discussion. Can we have that discussion? And
yes.
So things change a little bit.
Amen. Right. What you want to do to your body, and killing a child in your womb is not your body. It's not your heart. It's not your lung. It's not your kidney. It's not your liver. It's another life with its own DNA, its own gender, its own sex, and there's only two. Right?
By the way.
Yeah. But what you want to do as an adult, knock yourself out. As long as you're not infringing on another's rights, and under the 14th Amendment, you are. And indeed, let's get into more in students in action building pro-life leaders. And you spoke to it, the culture. this deception, choice. That's just a dodge word. They're against choice than anything else. They're against your free will and choice. But when it comes to murdering a baby, it's the convenient dodge. And on the notes, I see you say, Roe was such a constitutional train wreck, even Justice Ginsburg, a proud abortion proponent, couldn't defend the law from a constitutional standpoint. I talk about it on this show. I talk about that in my books. I talk about that in my free online writings all the time. So please go ahead and expound upon that.
Well, and your audience may love the quote, and it's pretty tight. It was in NYU in 1992,
She
and
spoke
yes,
before
yes, I've
Chicago
got the
Law
quote.
too. You can still find it on YouTube, where
Yeah,
she says Roe was unconstitutional.
yeah, where she said Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. And this is a woman not just pro-choice. She equated aborting babies with equality. All right, that's her worldview. Okay, it was egregiously wrong from the start. His reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences. She said that, yet when it was overturned, you had people attacking justices' homes and threatening them
Yep.
with death
Yep.
because they said this is a matter not for the nation, but for the states. And one of their champions said that, and that goes to your point, Joe, about the intellectual thinking through. Can we turn down the heat? Can we think it through? And now let's talk about what we're talking about, But that's one of the ironies of
Yeah.
the position.
Yeah, I've got multiple pieces on beforeitsnews.com that can be found for free as well. No, actually, these pieces are at thelibertybeacon.com. Some of it's at Before It's News. I wrote three of them. One, Aluma Baby, kind of like, everybody's into the comic book super Aluma Baby, right? The pro-life advocate. I've got that. But the piece I want to refer to you is because you use the term equality. Of course, now they warp and twist language. I got several articles on that and a show on that too. Warping and twisting. Now they want to move from equality to cultural Marxist moronic equity. So I've got a piece called I Demand My Equity as a Male to Murder for My Convenience. Why do you as a female get to murder for your convenience? I should be able to murder you for my convenience.
Well, and it goes, Joe, that brings it down to what are we talking about? And they want to move around. No, what are we talking? We're talking about a human being.
Right. They want to talk about clump of cells. Never in the course of human history has a female woman given birth to a bird, a fish, an alligator, a monkey, despite your Darwinism nonsense. You only give birth to a human, so it's a human from the very start.
And the key is, and I love the term, you probably do too, because it was used against conservatives, follow the science. So I love using the term. I love it. I'll say, let's follow the science.
How about real science, like actual biology, not your pseudo fake bought and paid for warped data science? Yeah.
And when you do that, and this is one of the, in part of this program, and we'll talk a little about it in teaching students, is the science, the fact that once the egg is fertilized, the DNA is exactly the same as when that person is 90 years old. So the DNA is unique. It is a human being. And so this is where
the fingerprints are unique. The blood type can be different than the mother's. The sex can be different than the mother's.
That I'll give credit to, because there are those, not just pro-choice, pro-abortion, who are okay with abortion up to the day before delivery. Right? I will give them credit for being consistent because those who are pro-life but say it's okay in the first 3 months, that's really not pro-life. You are
Right.
inconsistent. So anyway, we can get into that, but the
Yeah.
key is to remember, and this is one of the things in the training, the final of the 5-part modules, the final is defending the pro-life position. And a key part is asking questions, engaging, getting, are you okay with killing a baby the day before born? No, why not? Oh, it's a child. Okay, well,
And now they're peddling
walk back.
posts. The thing that Kermit Gosnell is in jail for in Pennsylvania still, they're peddling, like in Michigan, Ballot 3 initiative years ago, didn't codify Roe as they claimed. It legalized statutory rape. A 40-year-old teacher could now prey on a 14-year-old girl in the classroom without consequences. Statutory rape is gone. That had nothing to do with Roe. Also, what Kermit Gosnell, post-birth abortion, it's born, we botched it, just leave it there to die. Illegal, now legal in many places, but Kermit still rests in jail. And another thing that frustrates me to no end, and I hope you will borrow this from me regarding student inaction in building pro-life leaders. They say, we're male, we're not supposed to have a say. Excuse me, I don't have a tail, but that doesn't stop me from talking about animal cruelty. And abortion does affect men. We are the would-be fathers. We are more than just a sperm donor.
Well, and let me tell you where the culture has gone. I work in a local pregnancy center. I'm what's called a male advocate. I work about a third of the women who come in, the father is with them. And so I will sit with them, ask questions, get to know them. We offer parenting classes. What part of the process at the very beginning, asking questions such as, why are you here, and testing. And I will tell you, almost every man who I talk to, I ask, what's your feeling about the abortion, about the pregnancy? And most are excited, or at least, like one put on a couple of weeks ago, it's time for me to put my big boy pants on. But almost without exception, they then come and say, but it's her body, so if she wants an abortion.
Yeah, but it's not.
I am not. I'm scripted. I'm talking through. I'm not in to have a discussion with them, but that's a fact. That's in the water.
That's so the brainwashing.
This man who is a pro-life, they'll even say, I can't imagine that. But if she wants to. So that has seeped in. And some of these are Christian men. That has seeped in. And so that's why we got to stop and make people think about it. And that's what I felt a calling a year and a half ago to produce this project, to let's get the kids early to be thinking about it, because they're going to leave into the real world and they're going to be bombarded.
And people could go to udmi-rto.org. I'm the webmaster for our local pro-life group website. We have a life oratory contest, and we are seeing more and more teams that are indeed pro-life and willing to speak out about life versus death, including eugenics, life at all phases. Now, but back to what I said about twisting and warping of language, because you mentioned you're talking about planning parenthood. What does the left do? They call their organization Planned Parenthood, and there's only death planned there, not parenthood.
Well, and again, I mentioned in the water. I think the other term you used it, pro-choice. Well, in California, let me tell just a quick story. We had here I'm in Baldwin County, Alabama, on the Gulf, and we had our very first. We have 4 offices. An abortion pill reversal success. We just had a baby born 2 months ago. The mother took the first abortion pill. It's a 2-pill regimen. Took the first, it starves the baby.
Can be reversed. Thank God.
She immediately regretted it, called Our doctor got with her, flooded her body with progesterone, saved the baby. The baby was just born. We had our
Yeah.
first. Now, she chose, it's illegal, but she got the pills, but she said, I want to have a baby. In California right now, they are suing the pregnancy centers for telling the women about the abortion pill reversal, saying that it is deceptive. And so I get to the point of, goodness, you're pro-choice. Can you just really? Are
No,
you
they're
that
not choice,
pro-abortion?
though. They are pro-abortion. They are pro-baby murder. They are not for choice. I remember oh, what was his name? George Michael. Remember the Wake Me Up Before You Go
Oh,
video? Choose life. Oh, my God, the grief he got for that back when, right? They're not for choice. And you can go to udmi-rtl.org and find information about the abortion pill dangers, the side effects. They're the ones deceptive. They won't tell you the
no.
deaths caused by those pills.
Yeah,
Beyond just the baby, the mother's dying, the bleeding out, the dangers of these abortion clinics where they don't have admitting privileges to a hospital. So if they cause a major hemorrhage, the women are left there to die along with the baby because they can't immediately admit a woman they've now pretty much murdering to the hospital to save her life, let alone both her and her child's life. And as C. Everett Koop, former
Surgeon General.
thank you, yeah, said, all his years, he has never not known once where you had to murder the child to save the life of the mother. And especially now, preemies are born earlier and earlier and surviving. You do an emergency C-section and you treat both patients' life.
So the thinking has gotten, and you get the radical end, you say, well, most aren't radical, and that's true. However, between 65 and 75% of Americans are pro-abortion at some point. At some point.
They
So
fall for the rhetoric. Yes.
So standing in pro-life is a minority, and it's going to be more so. And so that's why I felt it was important. Let's put together a simple, in this project, if you don't mind me talking a little about it, the project is, it's 5 modules, teaching modules, about half hour. And it starts with why worldview matters, and then the Christian worldview, truth in life, truth in abortion, the history of abortion, and as I said, defending the pro-life position. So those are the 5 modules. And you also, there's hands-on work with the local pregnancy center where the students are working with
where actual parenthood is actually being planned.
Right.
Yeah.
And we what
support
they were able
them. That's another one of the lie. We don't care once the baby is born. Wrong.
Yeah.
We're for adoption as a choice, as an option. We support through diaper drives and fundraisers those who are impoverished and not financially ready to handle this family yet.
And you know what, Joe, I think in the early 80s that was a fair critique, and it was. You only care about the baby till it's born. But the pregnancy centers, people have no idea what they are. And ours is the same way. We do parenting class, we connect them. So they get to see that. In our case, they got to talk to a woman who had an abortion as a teenager and now counsels so they helped raise money. They helped get the younger kids raising money in the church. Yeah. So that was the pilot program. And what this is, and my point was, if you ask, Joe, and I think you'll agree, most evangelical churches, are you pro-life? Yeah, they'll check that box. Yeah. And we'll talk about
Devil's in the details. Yeah.
Well, and so when you say, what are you doing about it? I wanted to take away, number one, what do I teach? Here it is. And if you go to prolifeleaders.net, all the materials there, they don't know who I am. So what am I spot? Well, if you go to the website, prolifeleaders.net, and you'll see all the modules. So you can read everything that's in them. You can see the PowerPoints and the videos. So everything is there. And so that was the one issue. What do we teach? And the other is cost, because there is none. Beth and I have spent a lot setting this up, and whether it's graphics or the website and all that sort of thing. And all people are paying for is the printing. There's a printer in Dallas. He'll print on demand, and it's there. So you order that. So I wanted to take away what would we teach them? Here it is, and it's 5, and it's tight, but it's good information. And the second is cost, and there's just the printing cost. So I'm trying to take away excuses, if I could use that term, for churches saying, "Well, how do we do this?" Well,
we just had an event. Again, you could go to udmi-rtl.org. On May 17th, we had an intro to pro-life culture event. Again, free event, no cost, and handouts, no cost. 7 speakers, no cost to you to show up and hear these arguments, including I don't have a tail, but that doesn't stop me from speaking out about animal cruelty. So just because a man doesn't mean I don't have a say in the abortion issue as part of my speech there. And you can see the videos of all the speakers there, because you're right. People are worried that this is a money grabber thing for us. And it's not. It costs us. I can't tell you, being on a disability budget, money I can't afford to spend, but I do, helping the pro-life cause. This isn't making me money.
Yeah, and so and as I said, my goal, and it's just gone off in the last couple of months. I did the pilot with 8 students, and tweaked it and learned, and so then put it together. So it's well thought out, I think. It's got great information. It's not, I'm quoting people. I'm taking the Scott Klusendorfs and I'm sharing, this is where you get the information, but
you're sharing the Ginsburg quote. Right.
Yeah. So you could see it and read it, and it's not exceptionally long, but it is a commitment. But Joe, I've been telling people, I had that feedback. Boys, I said, you know what? Following Christ is supposed to be a commitment. Don't tell me that. So my goal, because I'm trying to find churches with one pro-life champion who's willing to try this with 6, 8, 10, 12 kids. Try it. It's all there. I have the info at prolifeleaders.net. They can email me. I'm happy to help them work with them. Let's try it.
Time sure flies. I try to keep my shows to around 30 minutes. We're there. You've already gone into the obvious last question. Where do people reach you? prolifeleaders.net. It will, of course, be on a scroll for those watching at BitChute, Brighteon, Dailymotion in France, Rumble, or YouTube video outlets. And, of course, again, if you've not gotten a pen and paper by now, why haven't you? Write this down for those of you on the 25 plus audio platforms. prolifeleaders.net, all together, no dashes, no underscores, right? Pro-life leaders, all lumped together as one word, .net, yes?
And it's all there. It's no tabs. You go through there. There are videos that explain it, how to get in touch with me. It's real simple. It's all there. And you can look at all the material just to say, what's he talking about? Well, there it is, what he's talking about.
So thank you, Stuart. Not able to cash in on the cereal company Kellogg. Stuart Kellogg, for joining today. Thank you. Take care. God bless.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. all substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.